We're in the depths of Cancer season tonight, and we're exploring the energetics of emotions and feeling them.
And feeling isn't a weakness, it's actually one of your superpowers. Coming up, LOL.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. Leading out loud.
Welcome to Leading Out Loud, the shift show that takes all things spiritual and gets them the truth with humor. We think, anyways. I'm psychic astrologer Christopher Wotecki, the sensei of SeriousStory.com.
And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor with ScottCruzPM.com. Christopher, how you doing? How's this week been for you?
I think it's been intense, man. Well, yeah, for me personally, it's been intense, man. Yeah, it's been intense. It's been a lot of pressure. I mean, finishing up Gemini was intense. There's all these details, and then the feelings jump in. You know, we jump into a pool, and you know, when you're just all logical, then you go to emotional. There's a moment of like, what the fuck? So there's that. Fatigue, been tired. I think the emotions are wearing down a little bit. People are, you know, bitchy, which I expect in Cancer. You know, my mom's a Cancer. I know how that works. Overall, though, I'm good. I mean, the transition for me, I don't know if we talked about it, but like, I feel the shift. I feel in a new paradigm. I feel a new timeline. I kind of feel like I'm, you know, on the ride, waiting for the good part to start. You know, but it's definitely more Wonderland than it was before for me.
Wonderment, yeah, because I think Wonderment was kind of Gemini season for me. It's like I was beside myself. I'm like, well, I'm doing this. I've been doing this, but I want to do this, and so where should I go with it? And so now I feel like ready to like start creating that, right, and getting the creativity out. And so, but yeah, I was kind of tired today too myself. I woke up with like neck pain and stuff like that. But I just feel like we all need to readjust to what's coming and how things will be taking flight in July. You know, so we got to be adjusting to that.
I think it's here. I mean, we're on. I feel we're on the new path. I mean, it's you know, planet's great. You know, grade 8. It's actually a slow transition. It's not usually except for a full moon or something that moves fast. You know, but I've been, you know, for weeks I was like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And then maybe this week I was like, we're there. You know, this is different. Reality is different now. You know, for me and other people report the same when I talk to them.
Yeah, it's going to echo, you know, later for a lot of other people too. You know, as you know, some people get it first, some people will echo it like later on and start feeling it later in July. But yeah, I think that for those who maybe are in betwixt the two energies, they understand like, yes, you're about to start expressing or about to start taking that lift off. Like I did a video recently about we're taking off in July. So, and so we got to be prepared for that and know how to navigate and where we're going. Where do you want to go? You know, both emotionally and what you do with your expressions.
Yeah, you'll find that the old problems are no longer being tolerated by the universe.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I've noticed that, you know, I've seen a lot of things. Okay, in this week alone, I know 4 dogs that died.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. And the owners are, you know, upset, and I mean, of course, and but also, you know, in one case, the dog talked to me, like, thank God, you know, he was happy, but the assignment was over. I mean, the assignment was over. That when dogs leave you, they're there to walk you through a certain part of your life and be there for that part, and then as soon as it's over, they take off. You know, they usually manifest an illness or something quick and tragic, and so that was a lot of sign things that happened. I can tell you about breakups that I know of happening. I can tell you about people let go of jobs, and so you know, I've seen the changes or whatever happening. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but the only time it's changed when people are ready to pass on and make their transition to spirit, they will, right? And the same with pets. Dogs always come in like when you're making a big change, they go when you're making a big change too. I always noticed, you know, that synchronicity with animals. They know when to come in, they know when to go out. And so, and I said a lot of deaths this week too. Just like a lot of like this one lost this one, and not like unexpected deaths I've been seeing. You know, people passing away and such. And so, but yeah, we all need to understand that during times of transformation, that also includes those who are transforming back into spirit reality. So
the whole carnival, you know, the end of Gemini I can't remember what the astrology was, but it was 29 degrees, I think. We had Jupiter at 29 Gemini going to Cancer, right? And so Jupiter goes 29 Gemini into Cancer. Now 29 Gemini is like that final degree is like, you know, chaos, you know, tons and tons of thoughts, ideas, everything bouncing off of each other. And in that moment, I just had this mind blown, which was the realization that, this theory I've been talking about, if right now we're asleep in heaven, right? I've been saying it for a long time. Right now we're asleep in heaven, we're dreaming about this moment. But for some reason, it suddenly just clicked in my brain, like, oh my God, and I just saw the repercussions of everything. It's like, this is all just nothing. Like, and I really just dropped all my emotional load and didn't care at that point of the little tiny things anymore. It just changed my perspective of who I am as a human.
Well,
And
it's
it hasn't
perspective.
Yeah, it's a perspective change. Yeah, everything's the same. I'm just looking at it from now. I'm asleep in heaven, which, But sometimes a little thing like that, man, it sure did, because it let off so much worry, and so much screwing up or whatever, or it could screw up or anything like that. Now I'm like, it's a video game, And then my mind's like, well, wait a second, Then after like 4 days later, it's like, wait a second, we own a spiritual company. What are we doing? I was like, what? But I realized it's like, oh, meditation, all this yoga stuff, no, bullshit. It exists and it's true in their tools, but it's not for this, worship holy.
Yeah, and I don't want others to hear this, take this the wrong way. We need to be objective enough to take a step back to understand the purpose. Like, even if it's a video game, there's a reason why we're choosing to play it. Like, so when I play those games, I used to be a gamer and play games. There's a reason I got something from it, right? So we have to understand, remind ourselves, remember what we're getting out of this. And so, you're obviously in the phase of healthy, I said last time, the healthy detachment, the 30-foot perspective, the God perspective of what's going on. And yeah, we might find that we're worrying about the stupidest shit, but, there's a purpose behind all of that. And I think that's a good time for us to start digging deep. What is actual meaning though about this? And so, some people get to that point, they get so detached and then nothing matters. They just go off in the deep end, so I want to make sure people are not taking it that way either. But it's good to be objective.
This is the most magical sandbox in the world. Now I'm like, oh, I'm just making sandboxes. I'm just making sandcastles. To me, that's fun. It's cool. And
Right.
It's a virtual reality game that's so real. It hurts.
Yeah, but I'm speaking for those who don't see it that way. I'm speaking for those who are get detached, right? And then they fall to that detachment. So I just want to make sure I'm clarifying for those who are watching that sometimes they get detached, they fall through a spiral that way, and we're not talking about that at all. Because I know there'll be people, commenting or saying like, oh, there is meaning to things, and nothing's meaningless. Like, of course, the meaning we put into it. So I had to be clear. I had to underscore what you're saying.
There is meaning. The meaning is in heaven is fucking boring, and all you do is flow around as a ball of light. And you don't know what you look like, and you don't know what you can do with yourself, and you really just study and look at things that God did a long time ago. And so the meaning of it is like we get to get out of that damn ball of light, and we get to actually have sex. We're going to come down and eat food. We get to come down and do stuff like this that's cool that we can only think about and imagine in heaven we can actually do here. So there's a lot of meaning, in that sense, a lot of purpose in that sense. And understanding it's a school. It's a school for enlightenment is what Earth is.
Well, if we weren't so fucking judgmental about everything, then we wouldn't have to put ourselves through that ringer, right? We put so much judgment, spiritual, I can't say fuck, I can't have sex, I can't do these things. It's like, we got to get out of this whole, we came from the religious paradigm of judgment, right? Now it's converted to like new age, where it's like the universe is the God and high frequency is this, and low frequency is the sin, right? We're still doing that same type of, got to be good, got to say good thoughts, and it's talks of positivity. And we're saying that it's that judgmental that kind of gives you that sense of bondage. And when you stop with that judgment, then you have the sense of detachment. You can look and see the true meaning behind things. And so I think people are so wrapped up even now from religion to now after only positive thoughts, only good things, and like the universe is going to reward me. And it's like, nah, dude, like everything has a purpose, and we find that out, like you said, and have that detachment. And absolutely, then we can find the real purpose of expression, and we start engaging with those physical expressions that become more, I would say, blossoming to our soul growth. And and you start seeing sexuality as another physical experience that comes from the soul too, and soul expression and vulnerability, intimacy, expression, right? And I think that when you peak on your sexual expression, then you've actually let go of a lot of layers of insecurity and judgment.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I haven't peaked.
You what?
I haven't peaked. I don't know yet.
You haven't peaked.
I haven't peaked. Yeah, I haven't peaked my sexual. Well, interesting thing is like if we are actually just in a video game, because first of all, a lot of things came to my realization. It's like, it's interesting. We have a whole generation after ours that are all gamers, right?
Yeah.
And I started thinking about, it's like, is this really a game? Like, is it possible this is a game that we create these games, this reality game, and gaming is like that we all like it. Gaming, everyone likes a good game. It's a fun game. Is the structure of the universe based on a game that you play? Because the universal, it does look like it's a hologram. We know that. We know it's a holographic universe. We know there's a lot of things science have told us. And this latest thing in my mind is like, oh, it's just to play a game, and really you come out of it like it was a game. that just to me is changes everything. Because if that's the case, then we're just here to have fun. This is a theme park.
Well, also,
right?
what's also so to gain wisdom, right? That's the whole reason why I want to play games and those strategies. I want to be as wise as possible. That means I in this lifetime, I'd be like, if I believed in something, like, oh God, it's not true. I got release the beliefs because that's can prevent my wisdom and growth. And so, yes, and maybe you might have an incarnation based on your previous incarnations that needs to have just fun and chill the fuck out, right? And some of us are seeking wisdom, some are actually seeking abuse. So yeah, we can find what our role is in this game. And when you do find what your role is in this game, then you become more like in sync with the collective, and that becomes more magical. You meet the right people, you're at the right place at the right time. The synchronicity is off the chain,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. And if it is a game, then all we're trying to do is be better players, and that makes a lot of sense to me too. 'Cause if you play video games a long time, which I did, starting with Atari, that's how old I am. The Atari 2600 was our first video game. But like, you get bored of the game after a while, and then that's why people become bad guys. I was like, someone I bet in heaven is just like, oh my God, I'm going to go ahead and rob that bank and kill 5 kids. Like, what? But it's like, it's interesting from that perspective. It's not even evil at all. It's a game. It's a role play game. There is pain, but not shouldn't be a lot of it that teaches you or whatever. And I'm not trying to minimize anyone's lives at all, but I'm trying to minimize people's worry and fear. It's like, I'm starting to feel.
Well, you're painting the picture of karmic paths and karmic evolution, because yes, if you've evolved some point, you might have to play the bad guy, and then the person, whoever's being the victim to your bad guy-ness, of course, is on their karmic journey to learn, so they can level up. So it's all perfectly in sync. I noticed that when I became more spiritually objective, that nothing really bad is happening here as much as we see, because we're evolving. Sure, we have different preferences, but those people being victimized are actually going through a leveling up of their own karma, and they need the bad guys to do so. And so we were there before, and so absolutely. And I think that when we understand all of that too, then we can be less judgmental about why people are doing what they're doing.
Yeah, I figured out a couple of things too, interjectly, which was we've been doing affirmations at Serious Joy, I am this and I am that. And we have this thing called the vault, where in the morning you go in the vault and you say, I protect this, I protect that. But the rule is you cannot use the word not. You cannot use no, not, or but. Okay. But I started thinking about that after I said that, and I realized, oh my goodness, why do we have those words? Because at the end of the day, I think there's a certain personality that wants to steal your energy, and they're the ones that go, no, but. Like they stop you, they energetically stop you. Now your energy is not going the direction you want to manifest. Now it's going around these butts, all these butt heads, these butt nose. But it made me realize, that ultimately you have people who want to go forward, and there are people who want to stop, but wait, hold on. And the stop, but wait, hold on, like stop, wait, I need help. Those are people who take energy. So I've realized, I came to the other realization, like, oh, there's people who take energy, the people who give energy. I've always known that, but never saw it in the exchange, because I've started to realize this all came from the topic that emotions are actually our currency. That our currency is actually emotion. That you have emotion, I have emotion. I give some to you, you make you laugh. You give some to me, I cry. Just kidding. And but ultimately, it's this back and forth of energy. We're constantly. And I also realized, I don't know if you see this in your third eye, but I realized feelings are how we talk to each other. Really, it's not telepathy. It's that we put out this boom, this feeling, this signal, this constant signal of sad, sad, sad. And people feel the sad, and people navigate in and out of it, and so it's just all these epiphanies this weekend. Yeah, it was interesting.
That's what emotion is, because we can get into the collective read too, but the emotion is really just the emotion is the voice of where you're standing and the state of being that you're in. So some people say when they I'm ruled by my emotions. I'm like, that sounds so odd to me, because your emotions is kind of reflective of what you're choosing to be in. So you should be ruled by your emotions. Let them be your messenger. And if you don't like an emotion that you're consistently in, then you can shift it. You can process things differently. And so just as much we feel emotions, we project emotions, as you said. So projecting a certain emotion to change an energy, to manipulate your energy space, is very powerful. So I think people understand that when you just default by feeling an emotion based on what you're projecting, you can shift it. And I think that's what we need to talk about for this week. So do you want me to do the collective psychic read first for the week, or do you want to do your astrology? What do you want to do first?
Sure, go ahead.
Huh?
Go for it. Yeah, go ahead and do your collective.
I might as well just lead into it, right? Because I really feel like during this time now is that we have to be very in tune to the emotions for this week. Because as we said before, and I've been saying on my show specifically, May's a month of movement. You're kind of boarding the plane. June, you're kind of taxing the runway. You're moving, but you haven't quite taken off. In July, You're taking off, baby. And so you got to understand and brace yourself for that takeoff. And you do so by navigating your emotions, being clear of what the hell you're feeling and why you're feeling what you're feeling, and how to shift and understand you have the power to change how you're feeling. That's how you navigate. So when you're going up for that takeoff, in July, which, I think it's taken off already, but we're going to come in for landing mid-July too. And we're going to start settling in and say, okay, now I've reached my destination. How do I express? How do I want to navigate? Which directions do I want to go? We got to be clear about how we feel in order to do so. So it's time now. And if you're not being self-reflective during this time of week, it's going to feel like a shitstorm. And you're going to hear all the shitstorms around you. It's going to feel very chaotic and fragmented. So it's important right now to pay attention to what you're feeling. And again, emotions, that energy emotion means that you can also put into motion any type of energy you want based on your own power, because that is your superpower. So it's important for us that we reflect on that this week, coming ahead. What does astrology say?
Well, we entered into the sign of Cancer, which is emotion. So we're exploring our feelings. We do this every year, frankly. But what makes this year unique is the fact that Jupiter has come along with. And Jupiter is the collective conscious of knowledge. It's sort of our library, our hard drive in our solar system that's copying, I think, recording every thought, every feeling, everything the person has. And that whole collective conscious represents all of us and all of our beliefs. So when it moves into a sign like Cancer, it means that all the beliefs of the whole world kind of merge with the energy vibe of emotion. And so emotion now is given all these different directions it can go. And that's what Jupiter is, all the 1,000 different timelines you can have. To the individual, it means that when feelings come up, you suddenly have more options available to you than you had before. And that's how Jupiter forces growth and learning. So what first happens is it happened in Gemini. I mean, everyone through Gemini, we just got out of it. Jupiter just left Gemini. And so, I feel not smarter. I feel more on top of what I know, and I know what I have to learn next. It's like the ceiling rose. And you're like, whoa, there's all this I have to learn still. Just the ceiling keeps going up with that consciousness. So this year in Cancer, the ceiling's going up, as far as what's possible, all the different variations of emotion, all the different ways of working with feelings. And what that does in the very beginning is make you feel kind of insignificant and small, because now there's a higher ceiling. What we're working on this first week is our own feelings with ourselves and how we respond to our feelings. So we are in a new moon today at step 4. We went to Cancer last Saturday. Today is the new moon. It's at step 4. Step 4 is a major shift in the dimension, And in this case, we have a major shift in the dimension, how we feel about ourselves. So in the next 24 hours, everyone ought to have a little minor breakthrough. And the breakdown can be something like, you rolling down your window in traffic, you motherfucker, it could be something like that. Or it could be like, oh my God, I was never a good mother. I mean, it could be a total emotional breakdown. Usually the breakdown is, something that has been, building up and getting at you. The breakdown doesn't always have to do with the breakthroughs. The breakthrough might be, oh my God, I realized we're all in a video game, or oh my goodness, I realized I've never been on top of my feelings, or I have, but I was accused of not. And so we start to feel different about ourselves as we go through the week. And this feeling different about ourselves is the new premise. That's what we call the new home. So we all came from a home when we were born that was damaged, almost everyone, because we're coming from past lives where there was trauma and damage, and we had these spiritual memories. And we've spent our whole life until now, recently, just getting over those feelings and those traumas. Now, in this particular Jupiter and Cancer transit, because Saturn's gone through Pisces, because Neptune's gone through Pisces, that's a karma, because Uranus has gone through Taurus, the completion of these long transits. This time we go into Cancer, we have it's going to feel differently. We're going to feel differently about who we are. We're more graduated. We're more aware. We're more practiced. We're more seasoned. And so we are basically emotionally growing up, is what's happening. And, I think what's also going to have to happen is just because you're emotionally growing up and you're mature doesn't mean you hold your shit, when something bad happens. So it'll be tested, this growing up. A lot of growing up for the next year will be things going on that you don't want to have go on. But, when we talk about like politics, and you can take the mic, people let themselves get upset about things they can't change. Like we let ourselves get upset about things we can't change.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I said before, and this is something I've been saying since I started my work, is that the goal is to be objective and unaffected. And all because we have other parameters in our political society, in our culture, in our world, just reflections of the collective consciousness, both on so many different layers. And, the problem is people are trying to like get out of this earth or get out of their life or get out of their circumstances, or they want to stop reincarnating, and so, and that's such a diluted point of view because, we came here to incarnate. We're not saying, oh gosh, how do I stop? How do I come back to planet Earth? And Christopher, you and I both agree when people say, oh, this is my last lifetime here, that's far from the truth. truth. It's not about stopping your reincarnation. It's about understanding the karmic paths that we're all on collectively, and the joy of growing from that. And we can evolve out of this reality into a new incarnation and into another planet, and we'll come back down to density. So it's not just like we're achieving this goal to not never reincarnate. We're here for a purpose. You might elevate and come back at a later time too to learn. So when we understand that purpose and what's going on in the collective society, our collective world, collectively, and how we're all just manifestations of our collective unresolved, then we can actually understand and take a breather and realize this isn't the end of the world. We didn't sign up for the end of the world. We're all evolving. You start seeing the positive end of things where things are actually expanding, and so many people try to get out of this world, get out of this planet, and not reincarnate, break the matrix. That's such a diluted, that's more of enslaved thinking, which is so false from reality and the truth.
Well,
we're not enslaved.
I do feel that we have been enslaved. I mean, I'm enslaved by taxes. I'm enslaved by all kinds of things that I don't have control over.
But what I'm saying is,
yeah,
that's not what I'm saying is, like, we're not enslaved in the sense of we've chose those parameters prior to incarnating. We knew there's taxes. We knew, what I'm saying? And so we're evolving from the in-system slavery stuff, yes, but I'm saying we've chosen to have those parameters so we could evolve and learn and play this game. That's what I mean. What I mean by that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe, and I'm even thinking about the movie. It's like, I do believe that up there you are planning your role play game on Earth. I do think you're planning it. You're going to choose like certain levels of Mars, certain levels of ego. You're building your character, your
villains. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I feel the idea is like we're going to see what Christopher does when he's faced with this character Christopher that he's building, which is obviously part of Chris in heaven. And this character, he's going to go through this and go through this, and we're curious. I think even you are curious. How's he going to go? How's my little mouse going to go in this little maze? But when you think about
psychic, I already know.
But there was a lot of things that led to this because you were talking about, I think it was you that said, we don't pray to God, we pray to our higher self. Is that you?
Mm-hmm.
Someone told me that.
Yep.
Like, we pray to ourselves, and I was like, well, of course. The part of us is watching the game. It's just a lot of epiphanies like that happen. And so for me, this week I'm just like, I'm more concerned about the fun I'm going to have than the work. For the first time in my life, I think I'm more concerned about my fun. Because the work is like, the work means nothing. I mean, the work is important. It's what I play in the game. But it's just like right now, if you played, some game and you're like, you drive a Pizza Hut car, are you going to really drive the Pizza Hut car in the game, like, and spend the game doing it? It's almost like we're playing dolls. But to me, it's just a freeing thing. Here's the thing, though. With Cancer having its upgrade and Gemini having its, I think everyone is going to have a major shift like I have. Not going maybe towards video game, but probably many out of organized religion. Because if you look at, if it's true, if this is a game and we come down here and like, it's going to be a fun game, we're going to play this life, and then some asshole goes, you're a sinner. You were born a sinner. And you're raised thinking that, and not that you're in a game. You're misled. You are hijacked. Your brain is hijacked to these other falsities that don't exist. To me, that is what's gone wrong as far as where we're lost and how we're confused.
Well, I blame a lot of spiritual hoo-ha and nonsense for a lot of that too, because it's just saying like as if it's always enforcing the enslaved mentality versus the empowered mentality, and the fact that we have chosen these limitations. People don't want to know, I've chosen that negative experience. I've chosen that abuse. Like, yes, we did. It's not victim blaming. It's empowerment enforcing. Because if we did choose to experience these parameters, we know we're strong enough to go through it, and we understand there's a great value in experiencing, and a lot of power we render from achieving that. So it's not victim blaming. We're saying we chose our karma. It's actually empowerment enforcing, because we have the power to understand, wow, I can gain more empathy, right? Number one, more self-appreciation, more experience of love through these experiences that are very deprivating. So that's how you get out of the matrix, is that you allow yourself to evolve and you don't try to get out of the matrix in a certain sense. The sensationalist stuff is making people lost to this idea of what objective reality really is. And I'm talking about that tomorrow, actually, about objective reality or subjective reality, what's reality, all that great stuff on my live show tomorrow. So
interesting. Well, I mean, this goes astrologically. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about, but really just for everyone's benefit, in this next week, know that think of yourself as an actor, an actress in TV or film. And when you have a feeling come up, a lot of people start blaming the feeling. This feeling, where'd that come from? She made me do it. That is completely out of your power. The power is simply the way you respond to your feeling, and for me, it is very much kind of kindergarten. I'm like, oh, come on, honey. Like I talk to myself, like, come on, you can do this. There's a lot of massaging. There's a lot of energetic flow, but the way you respond to your feelings is how you manage them, period. Know that to be true. And the more you respond to them, the more the universe responds to you. Because if your feelings are what's communicating to the world, and you are now actively working with your feelings like an actor and actress, you're working on the signal, your world will change almost instantly when your emotional tone does. And it's almost an instant thing. So I say, try it, guys, this weekend. By the end of the week, we will be, so today's step 4, where we decide where we belong with ourselves. And I just told you where I belong. I belong looking at my feelings, constantly massaging my feelings, getting my feelings happy. Doesn't matter what happened or what triggered my feelings. I'm just going to keep myself feeling good about myself, feeling good about my life. And if I do that, and I hypothesize, things are just going to start to fall in place, because that's really where I feel our power is in that emotion. That's what I'm realizing. I think, and of course, it's been squished. And of course, you're a silly girl if you let yourself cry. Everything is against feelings and emotions. The medications that numb you, all of it,
Stop trying to manage other people, manage your emotions, plain and simple. People trying to manage other people's emotions, why they did what they did, try to micromanage the stuff. Manage your own emotions. And you'll be so surprised of how fast things change. And I agree. I mean, we need to be objective with those emotions and not judge ourselves or try to run away from them. It's so powerful. And when you're just honest, and you're honest about what actually you're feeling and why, and just being able to say, I'm not judging for that. I can feel honest and feel free in that nature. That's so empowering. It's so changing. That's how you evolve. That's how you manifest, right? That's how you get out of this matrix, right? Yes. So it's important that we do that. And I think it's a good way to close the segment out for sure.
So let's talk about feelings. Okay.
Right. What do you feel?
We're in our topic today, and the energetics of emotions. Let's both give our perspective on certain topics. So how are you seeing emotions and understanding of them to change in the future? What's your name, Scott?
Is it my name? I thought my name is Michael. No, that's my middle name. I got confused too. No, I mean, if we look in our history, it was because of emotion and passion and zeal that causes great civil change, civil rights movements. And, so I think what's happening now collectively, people are starting to recognize the power of emotion and the fact that not only certain people have it, but we all do. We have to wait for a savior to come and do that or some sort of leader to come and do that. We realize I'm just as powerful. My voice is just as strong. And I thank social media for that, actually, because people feel they have the balls just to post anything. Yes. But I feel like now is the time that people start to recognize I do have that power. I do have that voice too. And so I think that's really the big change, moving forward collectively and people being able to hear and feel their emotions because they're watching themselves record that selves. And then when they post it, they realize, oh my gosh, now I'm seeing my behavior played back to me. So I think it's been a good time of that self-reflection. So I see us becoming more imbalanced on emotions, especially politically. The emotions are going to have people be more empathetic and less holding on to beliefs. So we're going through a rough period now, as we've all forecast. But I feel like this time now is actually preparing us for that. It's the breakdown of breakthrough energy.
Yeah, we're being force taught, I feel. I mean, if you're being force taught, there's a big boogeyman who's going to get you. He's going to ruin all your country. And that's okay. I feared boogeymen too. You know what I mean? Like in my own world. But I feel it's to get us in control of our feelings. So where I see feelings going in the future is I see feelings turning into the force. I feel that what's going to end up happening is when we want to fly, and I know we can fly, and I know it's capable in our system, and we just haven't figured it out yet because it's a feeling inside of us. Just like right now, make your foot move. It just didn't it? It moves. It doesn't. There's nothing to think about. And the feeling of it moving, and the feeling before it's going to move. Everything really is a feeling. I feel, and I really believe that emotion is how we control being in this suit. By changing your feelings and sending out signals, we shift things. All animals reply to feelings. Send a dog a fear. See what happens. If that dog smells fear, the dog feels the emotion of fear. You could also send. I've done this intuitively and didn't even know. When I was a kid, I was scared of dogs. I would send it love, like hey, and I think of it. I would think of myself sending it love. So I must pick this up from some sci-fi movie. My mom was in my mom's womb. I don't know. But the point is, I feel it's going to be that our feelings will actually be the remote controls. That'll be how we plug into the matrix, how we plug into Mother Earth, and I think that's why we were dumbed down of our feelings. I think that's why our third eye is covered with pineal gland is all covered with calcium, and all these things are like putting little covers because if those little bastards realize that they control the Earth, we're fucked. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, and we have to understand the importance of the emotions that are instinctual, intuitive, or reactive. We need to understand the dynamics of such. This way we're not going off our rocker, right? Or this way we can be more insightful that it actually is intuition and follow it, right? Because I think a lot of times people don't trust their intuition because they have reactive emotions that manifest that have the same intensity. Yeah. And so they can't decipher if it's in their head or not because they're still just as intense as their reactive emotions. So if we just take a step back and understand that, then we can understand when we're being instinctual, intuitive, or just reactive. And that's an important key. So I think that's changing.
I think it's true. Actually, we have a program at Serious Story doing the same thing where it's like, we say, go in the vault. We're not saying it, don't sit in front of an altar. Go in the vault, the safe space. And in the vault, start to identify and label these feelings. This feeling is
I think we have a commercial for that, don't we?
Do we have it? Do we have a commercial?
I don't know.
Are we?
Let's see.
I don't feel so.
Roll them.
All right. I guess this is
From the creators of 40 Days of Past Lives and Karma and 40 Days of Self-Love comes the class you've been waiting for. An introduction to Step Astrology. That's right, I'm sharing some of my inside secrets on how to read a chart according to Step Astrology and help you interpret the stars, whether it's for yourself or for clients. Keep a lookout for us coming soon.
Oh.
Did you know that discordant energies such as illness, trauma, violence, and depression can linger on a property for hundreds of years, going all the way back to the very beginning of that parcel of land? This can also happen with family heirlooms, antiques, or even previously owned furniture. If you've been feeling blocked in life, more ill than usual, or again just uncomfortable in your home, your space could be holding onto residual energies. Refresh My Property can help clear these energies remotely. Scan the QR code to get your free phone consultation today and begin clearing your space and your life.
My name is Mark Wright. I'm an architecture engineer. I run a nonprofit. It's a housing development organization. So I'm a developer. I also have a document management company, engineering. So I would say my light work is really with my nonprofit, where I provide affordable housing for people that's underdeserved, those with disabilities, victims of homeless, victims of domestic violence.
Wonderful.
Well, I'm back. You're back.
Yeah, I just popped back from Venus, man. That was crazy. Cool. I like Mark Wright. He's a good man. He was in Unite the Light.
Yeah.
Helps home. Really good soul.
I'm telling you, those are light workers too that also need a platform, because as light workers that do things like that are not spiritual. And we think because they're not spiritual, we don't call them light workers. Those are light workers too. People like working in the gears and, and getting their hands dirty, not just being fluffy spiritual. So that's another light worker I think that definitely needs recognition of what they do.
I personally, I don't know if you call at what point do you call yourself a light worker? I think it's to the point when you change a life, like when you actually
That's exactly right.
Until you have.
That's exactly right.
And they tell you, they tell you freely, survey them, so that
light workers lubricate the system, right? They help the system to go so it doesn't crash and burn out. We're lubricating the system and making a better system. That's what light workers do.
Yeah. We want to make the world a better place. I mean,
Exactly.
We're born with our heart wanting to do it. Something we want to do.
Yes. That's a light worker.
We work for us. Yes. Light workers.
Not a love worker, light worker, Christopher.
I'll be hiring a love worker later. So, help me with my love. So the question from our producer is, Scott, I think this goes to you. What do you feel is the emotion of the summer is going to be?
Of the summer? Wow.
Winter in Australia, but summer here. Yeah.
Well, we get to the summer because we're coming to summer. We should do another Summer of Love astrology forecast, Christopher. 12 signs. We should do that this year. But it's July. I don't know if we have time to actually. Maybe just do one on the LOL. Maybe. Summertime's going to be chaotic though. But also good. I see a lot of people, and not so much as is common for every summer. I see a lot of people like traveling. Even people who don't necessarily travel are going to feel urge to travel. It's more about getting out of their skin, getting out of their environment, getting out of their kind of mundane. I feel people want to try something new this summer. So if it's Summer of Love, then maybe you want to try to have a menage a trois or something, or maybe three summer. So I don't know, but you're going to feel that. And I'm saying this to be crass for a reason, because you will feel some sort of like out of the box desire to do something new. So that could cause chaos if you're not kind of certain about what you're doing. So just be mindful of that. I think a lot of people are going to see peaks in their careers and peaks in their jobs. And I predicted, earlier or last year that crypto and Bitcoin was going to go through the roof. It was at an all-time high this year. So the economy is actually better than what it is appearing to be. I'm not giving anyone credit for this, but it's going to get better. I feel like during the summer, more solid, more stable. That's because that's the current we intend, not because any politician. And so I do feel like things will be more expansive for the summer. So yeah, love, free love, open love, careers, like being expressive in your careers and stuff. So like you and I talked about before, peaking creativity. So busy this summer.
I think we're ramping down. There are people who won't let go of the old. They just can't let go of it. They can't let go of that, what that person did to them. They can't let go of what that person said. And that's their own choice to hold up their own life based on wanting something outside them to happen. So those people, I feel, get kind of more miserable through the summer, because the energy of astrology is trying to push, is actually all elevated. It's all forward. We're actually about to go on I can't keep up where we are with the study versus the show, but we have all the major planets retrograding. Like 5 planets changed signs in Gemini. Now in Cancer, several are going to retrograde. We have Neptune's already retrograded. We have Saturn will be retrograding. No, Saturn's already retrograded. Think about the other has retrograded. That's 3 big ones right there. And they, by the end, so what that means is we stop moving forward, we stop pushing. So the energy stops pushing. And it's almost like now everyone is just kind of free to roam about the cabin and see what they want. And the difference between this and any other summer is this summer is promoting new stuff. Uranus goes into Gemini, new thinking. Time for some new thinking. Saturn went to Aries, Neptune went to Aries, a new you. So the astrology says that people are really going to create an updated avatar. They're going to update their character in the game.
Totally.
They're going to they're going to see that they want to, actually, what happens.
Yeah.
So you see that you want to. I want a new character. This one's boring. I'm tired of this one. I'm trying to bring the guys always on, right? So those planets dip in, and then those planets pull out at the end of the summer, and we get one more swipe of the old stuff with this new point of view programmed into it. And then we develop that character to the end of the year. Is what astrology says.
But people also understand not so much they want to, but they earned it. Like, in a video game, you've like earned your leveling up because of your missions you've completed. So you resolve karma. You've earned this leveling up. So feel worthy of it. So many people might have to be like, oh, I don't know if I can, if I deserve it. It's like, you're worthy of it. You've earned it. You've earned this leveling up. So I want people to understand, embrace it. Don't run away from it either.
Yeah. Well, we've been lied to so much. It's like, right now, I mean, anyone offers me anything, I'm like, I'm so I feel like there's a little bit of a relaxing that has to happen for people to kind of open up and accept and see if this works for them.
Yes, absolutely.
But technically, this was all destined. We were meant to have this transition. Human beings are supposed to feel and experience going from shit to shine, as far as yeah.
True.
So,
I mean, it's
we
what it
got
is.
the shit right. The shit we got right. That we did that shit really good. Yeah, totally. We did it good.
Who was that? Who did you channel?
I don't know.
You sound like a fucking Rockefeller for a minute.
I am channeling characters. It's kind of interesting.
Are you?
Yes, I have been. I always did as a kid. I'd let it happen. Now I'm actually seeing their face and stuff.
Well, be careful. It's not like it could be borderline between channeling and schizophrenia. So make sure you have a fine, healthy line for that. So
no, he'll be fine. Just don't tell him about it. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. It's all good.
He went that way. Yeah.
But emotions are a superpower. So what happens with feelings is that feelings are this, magical energy, basically, that from what I hear, all the people I talk to people in heaven, no other planet has emotion. The Earth is the only planet. And the Earth is the only planet where the human beings create from the Earth, where the planet is infused with the people that the will can turn it. So it's a very special planet, Earth. And that gives me a shit my perspective too. It's like, and I've been saying in a serious story, it's like, let's quit beating ourselves up for emotion. Apparently we're the only fucking aliens that can do it. Like, we're the only ones that have it, that does it. That's what aliens say back. It's like, all these films of us being afraid of them, they're like, don't get sad now, because the energy hits them and it makes them sick. It makes them feel bad, apparently. So, we have to kind of be calm. They don't want to come here until we calm the fuck down, because it's high energy.
Yeah. But if you think about everything, well, if whatever karmic reason we're here, at the end of the day, it's all about us juggling and managing and balancing emotion, really. I went through this, that made me feel this way. I went to that and I felt this way. I'm deprived. And so we're here to manage emotions. So forget about the specific circumstance you're in, guys. Understand, no matter what it is, you're here to manage the emotions that you're presented with, right? But I think we're using emotions to learn, Christopher. I mean, that's what I think that we're doing. That's our tool to learn. To like,
totally.
I'm know more about myself because of that, because of what I felt.
Yeah, you feel the highs and the lows, but I can feel if the door's open. I used to have this paranoia about the door being locked or not, when I was living in LA. But but also could feel the door was locked. I could just feel it. That's what feelings can do. I can feel my son's upset. I can feel my son's okay. Right near in this chair, I can feel my son right now. This is like 0-point connection of everything on Earth. Go off of Earth, I guess that signal doesn't work anymore. So because it works for Earth, but and we feel Mother Earth and we feel plants and we feel nature. So I feel like we're moving into a world where we're going to speak much less because we're going to feel people and have nothing to say because we understand. We completely understand.
Well, people already started doing that. People don't really interact with anyone anymore. So it's already started, but it's more in a depriving state. But yeah, I agree to be more in a balanced state, which I think, because I think we're going to be in a state of emotional, sovereignty to where, it's going to lead to like collapsing like older structures. I mean, we've had so many revolutions in our time, and so we don't. That's why we don't have slavery anymore. That's why we have all these other things. So we're due for another change in that way. So our emotions is going to lead and break down a lot of these outdated structures in our governments, in our world and culture. So we're seeing that happen. We're in it. So it's like we're seeing every little fragment pull apart, and it's chaotic. But take a step back, say, oh yeah, that's crumbling. We're building a new culture. Right. And so I've wrote a song about it. Right. So yeah, I do feel like emotional sovereignty will lead to, collapsing of power struggles for sure and structures.
Well, I honestly feel you want to kill your enemy, ignore him. I really feel that most of the time we're in an argument. A lot of people who argue, they're doing it because they're stealing your energy, and then you said this, you said that, and they rush from it because they're feeling your emotions come at them. They're feeling their emotions counteract yours. And it's in this gigantic, explosive moment, hormones are released. Bathroom has to be done, and really, honestly, most of the time, people who are doing that are just they're taking the energy from you. So to have no response at all and not feed it, just don't feed it. Don't feed it by just ignoring it. It simply is not. I didn't hear anything happen. Did you hear anything happen? That's it. It's not easy.
But when you have the knowledge of the circumstance, you don't have to acknowledge. So when you have knowledge, you don't have to acknowledge, because a lot of people are trying to fight for like who's right or wrong. It's like, if you know what true is true, you don't acknowledge that energy. Yeah, it doesn't. There's nothing for that energy to expand upon. And if we all did that as a collective society right now, oh my God, dude, things like change so rapidly. But everyone's still feeding the emotional and acknowledging, the enemy, so to speak. And that's why it's keeping it going. But I think people are being more perceptive about it now. I said it like maybe 6-7 years ago. I felt like around this time, people are going to wake up, structures collapsing. I wrote a blog about it actually a long time ago. And I'm seeing it like happening on this timeline, as I said. So I'm excited to really see it. I mean, some people can't because they're wrapped up in the fragments. But when you take a step back, it's so obvious, isn't it?
It seems to be, yeah. I don't know if I've got something special or it is. It's God Universe built everything very simply. Actually, there's not a lot of on top of it. And the other thing is, when the ancient technology comes back, which is that Mother Earth is full of all sorts of like surprises in her. For instance, the ability to teleport yourself instantly on the Earth. Apparently, that was a thing, and it'll be a thing again. You just imagine yourself there, and you're there. This type of, it sounds hokey, and I'm sure it sounded hokey. My grandmother heard there'd be a little box you can watch things on, so we all have that quantum as far as the future. But I do believe, for instance, with the levitation of the stones and for the pyramid, the classic story is that they're singers. They sing a certain note. That note is then like put through a crystal, and it lifts in anti-gravities. It almost like turns that part of the earth off or something. It's like literally we have remote controls of the earth and it's our feelings. If you feel this, the law of attraction, I think, is based on that feeling going out. So it makes feelings the most important thing that you have to face, and to learn. And there's a feeling for everything. I had a feeling when the step system came in, that feeling I'll never forget. It was a very unique, weird feeling inside of me. I just will never forget that feeling ever. I've memorized it. So I think to myself, oh, if I want to download something else, should I go try to be that feeling? Because that's basically making the phone call, isn't it? To become frequency and send it out, experienced by yourself. So,
everything derives from a feeling. Everything derives from a feeling. That breakup, that first time love, the hookup, the one night stand, the music, the football play, basketball play. I mean, everything derived from feeling. So, I mean, it's important to be conscious of it. I mean, it sounds simple, but you know how many people, Christopher, that's what keeps us in business, and the light works in business, because so many people are not managing those emotions or being perceptive and understanding the power of that. You know, and so, yeah, it all derives from there. And the good of the good and the bad of the bad.
yeah. Well, it's interesting. I feel it's our way to 5D. I mean, I have a feeling that it's going to be feelings. In other words, allowing yourself to, only your feelings will tell you, are you low or are you high? Only your feelings will tell you that something good's about to happen, something bad's not, it's about to happen. Only your feelings will tell you that you are done with your karma because you feel nothing. It's an emotional state inside of you that will tell you where you are in space time and your ascension. It won't be the mind. The mind will not be able to figure it out. It's bigger than the mind, kind of thing. So it means, and so going back to our original question, what are we doing this Cancer that we never did? I'm installing this stuff in my programming. I'm starting to talk about the powers of our feelings, pay micro attention to it. Did you want to segue? Okay.
Yeah, no, I was digesting that because you threw me for looping back to the Cancer, but you know, we can also see how much we've grown with emotions too. That's why taking advantage of Cancer season right now is a good time to see how much you have grown to. You know, if you just take that pause right now and you know, because our culture right now just really tells us to like kind of numb those emotions or pacify those emotions with, I always say, finger fucking your screen, like you know, consumption overload, and you know, and you know, we have to be careful what we say, and you know, don't offend anybody. So we've been like really numbed down to like not really express how our emotions are. So we go in the superficial route. So we need to be conscious of that. You know, and when you master emotions, you can see through that, and you won't let anything prevent you from holding that back and expressing yourself. So I think that's where we're kind of going now. And you know, and also, I mean, same thing, like, you know, if we have you know, shortly after is Leo season. So I mean, kind of interesting, we go from heart base to, you know, into Leo season. You know, what do you kind of see about that, and how can you summarize that in a nutshell with relationships and emotions?
Well, first of all, emotions are in the way. So 11 steps of serious joy. You know, the mind is step 5 in the middle. And at the bottom, you have the heart and you have emotions. So what happens is your mind is up here thinking, why does my life suck? And we say, serious joy, well, go talk to your heart. So you go talk to your heart. The first thing you encounter is your emotions on that level. You got to go through your emotions to get your heart. And you have to go through your emotions for the heart to get to the mind. And so when the heart is bringing an idea, a creative idea upward to be shared with the world, emotions will color that idea and give it all of its perspective and its richness and its spiritual information. You know, having walked through this emotional moment is what the mind chooses to describe in the mind. And one of the main things we've noticed is that the mind is supposed to look into the heart for the ideas. The mind has been looking outside, like an AI and stuff. And that's why humans are also lost. If you're creating this reality ride and you are the author of all of the plot, why would you look to anything in the actual ride to figure out what you're going to do? You know, you go back to the creator. You go back to who's creating those thoughts and ideas. Yeah. So emotion has to be cleared. It has to be cleared. It has to be to a neutral place to get to that core of that heart.
Well, at the structure, I like to say, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow on my live show, is that you have the soul, and the mind is filtering your soul. So we have so many filters with beliefs, with, you know, past experiences unresolved, faulty logic that's filtering how our soul's expressing this reality. So if you get to the core of the soul, then you'll understand what's real and what's not. And that's actually the topic of my live show tomorrow, because we're kind of in perception wars right now, right? Because is reality real, right? And so it depends. And I want to get into the difference between objective reality, subjective reality. Is it both? Is it one or the other? So we're going to talk about that. And emotions is a great gateway on how to understand if you're in a false reality, illusion, delusion, schizophrenia, whatever the case is, you'll understand, or if you actually are connected with subjective and actually collective reality. So that's every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, which is tomorrow, that specific topic. And I do live readings as well. So come join the show, and I hope to see you there.
Yeah. Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.
I'm saying like, come alive. Oh, come alive.
Yeah, wake up, Tris, because I know every time I wake your ass
Oh
up, come
man,
alive.
the energies are heavy. Emotions cost a lot of. Have you ever had a fight or cried or had an emotional day? That night you're so tired.
Yeah.
Burns so many calories and takes up so much energy. We have here in the script. What
there's a
feelings?
script. Oh,
there's
okay.
well, there's a list of questions. The idea of emotional sovereignty. I'm not even sure what that is. Have you diagnosed that or you come up with a definition?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And, emotional sovereignty for me is it's like, your independent way of thinking with no actually influences from other people, other beings. You're actually unified your own perspective and voice to where it's like, it's only dependent on your point of view, your own sole purpose. But your own point of view should be in alignment to being objective with the collective too. But that emotional sovereignty is I feel how I feel because that's how I feel. I've determined my own feelings and no one else is persuading out or dissuading me to feel what I feel from the soul level. That's to me emotional sovereignty.
I don't think we're going to reach it. I mean, I don't think we're going to reach it. I think it's a far cry. I mean, I can put on 20 rainbows. It's still going to get wet. I don't know if we want to have.
I don't know. You hold on a second. I'm going to stop you there because you have emotional sovereignty. You don't really care about what people. You're not influenced by how other people feel or see you.
Oh no, I'm hit. I mean, I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that? Like I can feel like I'll be in a meeting and I'll say something. And
I'm not saying, but that's an effect of learning and growth. But like for the most part, you're solid in how you feel and open to evolve. That's emotional sovereignty. So that means if someone doesn't like you do, it takes a hit, but you realize, okay, let me change that. That's sovereignty because you're growing in your own time, in your own period. You're taking your influences as inspiration. That to me is sovereignty. So we're still going to have effects in physical reality, but I think that we'll allow ourselves to say, I'm molding my character, like we said before, in my own terms and what I'm destined to do. Not what. So I don't feel you've ever been persuaded by somebody else, negative opinions about you. In the most part, we went into a different path in life, or you know what I'm saying. You've always done your own what you always wanted to do, for the most part. That's emotional sovereignty.
I had a father. I'd say, I don't feel this is good, Dad. He goes, you're wrong about that. You feel this. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, as a kid, I could tell, like, you can't tell me how to feel.
Right.
But it was the beginning of the whole thing. I mean, commercials tell you how to feel. Songs tell you how to feel. Everything tells you how to feel. They're trying to encourage you. They're not. And the thing is, they're telling you. Here's what they're screwing up. They're telling you, well, the mind has no business in the emotions. The only time the mind can affect the emotions when the mind's freaking out and it makes you feel sick or feel bad. If you change your mind and you feel better, that's because your mind was the problem. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different department. It doesn't belong in that store, in the emotional store. So there's that too. That I think a lot of my clients, for instance, I'd say 60% of my clients, at least maybe 70,
right,
are in a past life they made like a major mental mistake, right?
Right,
and it hurt them emotionally. Like they were set because emotion. You have to realize the moon revolves around the Earth because the moon reflects the light of the Earth back onto the Earth. So the Earth and the light of the sun go back on the Earth. So it's like a radar dish. That's what emotions are. Emotions are the you feeling back onto yourself what you're putting out. You basically are feeling the energy yourself, and you're feeling energy hit and whatnot. So ultimately, it's a game of awareness where if you are clear on how you feel, you can determine if you're picking up on someone else or you're picking up on yourself. That's one of the first steps you do as a psychic, as you probably know, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the confusion is that, so my clients, they have a mental issue. Their mind knows it made a mistake in the past life. The mind screwed up. The mind opened its mouth, and told the Pope that they were gay. Opened their mouth and told the Pope that they were a witch. Something like that.
Yep.
That was a big mistake. And damn it, why did I make that mistake? That was such a dumb mistake. They end up getting broken emotionally from it, like, thrown in the castle or whatever. So they're emotionally broken down. They come to this life, and they're actually upset about it emotionally, but their mind's trying to fix it because the mind made the mistake. And so a lot of people are trying to, their mind made a mistake, but they don't realize the wound is emotional. And even though you get your math test right, that's not going to fix how you feel about it because they're different departments. So when you said sovereign, I'm just like, there's so many emotions bouncing off of emotions, but I am sovereign in the sense of, I told my dad, you're not telling me how I feel. Don't tell me how I feel. I know how I feel.
Right, and that's emotional sovereignty. And Cancer season, especially Neptune being retrograde on July 4th in Aries, the dreams are gonna be crazy. Like, you're gonna feel a lot within your dream space. And I always talk about dreams too. And someone just mentioned this comments. I think Danielle did. I love that, because I always say too, you might have dreams that actually is a past incarnation or past life or another dimensional of life that you've lived, or another aspect of self, of yourself, unresolved, coming up that integrates and it actually aligns with whatever your thing you're experiencing in this current lifetime too. So you're going to have a lot of that, especially in July too. And so those emotions will come up. And so I would say own it, take that emotional sovereignty and own those emotions, feelings, and work them, and be that alchemist in that sense. Because, not only just dreams, Christopher, like vivid dreams is for Cancer too, but like also like dreams come into manifestation. So things you've been dreaming about come to it. But the only way to understand that is with that emotional sovereignty, so you can direct it. You can't direct it if you worry about someone is going to judge you for it, or they're not going to like it, so I won't do it. Like, sovereignty's like, I'm going to do it no matter what the outcome I think could be. So, but yeah, and I think that learning to see emotions and information and obstacles, I think, is the main thing too, because you can't be your own obstacle, and if the obstacle is not defining the emotions and being objective and not seeing it as information. So, as the next point, I think it's really important to understand that too. That's emotional intelligence.
Oh yeah, I think we have very little emotional intelligence on this planet. I feel like when you see people on The View arguing, low emotional intelligence. True. If you're getting upset with your coworker that you're all making $1 million a single episode and you're still yelling at each other, it's like, come on. Those emotions can't be wrangled in. There's nothing in you that says to you life is good. They don't have to pay. Really nothing is good. You're going to get this upset over this. It's like the child that spills the milk. I think we have not grown emotionally whatsoever since, I don't know, 1950 maybe.
I think a lot have like. Yeah, I think we have, I think it's a cycle, right? So I think just people evolve and ascend and then whatever, and we evolve and ascend, and there's always going to be the people out there that don't have that high emotional intelligence, so we have something to reflect on, right? We have something to compare ourselves to, so they'll always be there. So I think the more we become more emotionally sovereign, the more we start seeing that it's the stupidity around, but totally, because it's a greater contrast, right? And but I think that's more reflection of our peak of our own emotional intelligence, that we also want to help. Then we become the leaders to try to help and change as well, to start that new cycle. But that's what brings joy into spirituality, in my opinion, which is actually next week's show.
Well, the heart, what's interesting is the moon revolves around the earth. And so the astrology tells us that when it's in a different sign, it's checking in on each part of each state of awareness. So you actually feel all states of awareness. You feel your body, you feel your thoughts, you feel your heart. And one of the things we teach at Serious Joy is how to tell the difference between the two. The most complicated is how to feel feelings versus the heart. That's a very, very sophisticated boundary and distinction, because the heart and feelings are so close to each other, because the heart communicates through feelings. That's it. So how do you identify the heart in all of that? And the answer is the heart will light up. The heart lights up. And if you don't know what that is, think of something that makes you happy, or think of something that think of someone or something you just absolutely love. You'll feel your heart, the energy. You'll feel the heart, your energy literally light up like ET. Right. And now I can go to that feeling anytime and check on my heart at any time. But it wasn't until maybe 7 or 8 years into my business that checking, doing on camera every day, teaching it. But I feel we have to make distinctions. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you're true, and joy is a result of that. I think some people are trying to reach the goal of joy without understanding what gets you there. It brings the result of joy, and that's what everything we talked about: the emotional sovereignty, to understand different dimensions of self, right? Understanding you have the power to navigate the emotions, and so the result of that is joy, right? And so, and that's what spirituality is, but all about evolution. So that'd be a good topic for us for next week. I think it'd be a good continuation from this next week, and that is our show next week: joy and spirituality.
We do, but we have one little message from one of our sponsors first, and we'll come back and wrap the show.
It's in the stars to seriously change your life with a subscription to Serious Joy. Sign up now for your personalized step astrology and daily pep talks. Highly predictive astrology sent via text and email. Daily zodiac weather reports. Advanced lectures, classes, edutainment series, and more. Sign up today for only $3.99 to seriously change your life. Only on SeriousJoy.com.
Are you a practitioner looking to move your life's work into the spotlight? Do you have that special magic that makes you stand out? Serious Joy is now auditioning for its new Practitioner of the Week segment on Namaste Today. Sensei Christopher is looking to highlight qualified lightworkers with a promo short dedicated to raising awareness about your gifts. Interested? Contact Jenny at intuitive.com to apply for an audition and get ready to shake what your spirit gave you.
I don't just talk stuff.
You're kidding me.
I don't just talk stuff, period.
Oh my God. So
I'm living it. I'm living it.
I feel what's going to happen this month, just to kind of close out, this month of Cancer is everyone has an opportunity to respond to their feelings differently. Your power is your response. You don't have a lot of power of the feelings flaring up. They flare up, they're programmed to flare up, and then they light up other parts of your history. And that's what emotion is, like this like a lightning storm. Oh, just like the time. You know, you did this to me, just like the time that happened to me. And then it goes into past lives, the time that King Arthur did. All just goes all the way back. And that is emotion. That is where it comes up. Now, when that comes up to raise its head, I believe emotional sovereignty is when you go, let's not. No, that's not easy because you're so used to coming under the power of that emotion. But you actually, it talks to you. I mean, it responds to you. It's your energy that's doing all these waves. So I feel like, to me, sovereignty is I don't let my own past and feelings prevent me from how I want to feel today.
Yeah, and matter of fact, they help you to evolve and to grow into actually what you want to feel tomorrow. And tomorrow is all about that joy and understanding about spirituality. So catch us all next week. Join us live next week, guys, and I'll let me out loud where we will talk about the connection between joy and spirituality and how to manifest both, actually. And catch me tomorrow for my live show, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Scott Cruz on here on YouTube. And we're talking about, is reality real? And live readings too. So catch me there tomorrow.
All right.
Sign off, Christopher. Give your sign off.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, just sign.
Oh my God. I was so consumed about the graphic going. I thought you were supposed to sorry. It's a weird day.
I thought you were going to give your sign off and say all right, motherfucker, see you later. Peace out, man. You know?
Yeah. Look at this guy. I think it's emotionally sovereign bleeding out loud. Special edition.
That's good. It's mostly sovereign to be in silence, right?
Yeah. Whenever something's dying, you should take a moment of silence.
That's emotional sovereignty, baby.